Hello, I'm Jay Skipworth at UNC Charlotte's Career Center. I also am one of the WRP coordinators, and I'm going to do a very quick 5-minute video here on the WRP student guide to the informational interviews that you will all participate in next week. So I would like to let you know that I'm going to share my screen here, which will share a document with you that you will all receive via email. So don't worry if you don't feel like you can copy all of this down at once. So, just real quick, just so you know, if you're not familiar with what an informational interview is, it's a formal discussion with a person who works in a field that you're interested in learning more about. It differs in a regular job interview because you're not really interviewing for one specific position. Rather, your goal in the informational interview is to learn a good bit about the organization or the types of opportunities that you will be interviewing for. Just like a regular interview, you want to be professional and courteous as always. Just to let you know that during the course of the WRP interview, you'll begin with introductions with your recruiter and then have a conversation where you can ask about career advice, learn more about federal service, get feedback on your resume and your interviewing tips. I won't read the entire document to you because you can do that on your own, but just some basic highlights of how to prepare. What I recommend you do is take a look at the various career pathways and federal agencies that you are interested in working for. If you go to usajobs.gov, there's a huge list of all the agencies there if you haven't done that already. The other thing you want to do is practice introducing yourself to someone. Consider the things you would say if you walked up to someone and met them and wanted to start a professional conversation with them. Some tips here on how to do that is include your name, obviously, when you're graduating, obviously that you attend UNC Charlotte, your degree, major area of study, and then the things that you most are most important for you in terms of your accomplishments, your goals, and what you want to do in federal service. One thing to make sure you do when you're in the interview is always ask for clarity if you're unsure about a question and ask a lot of questions. The whole point of the informational interview is for you to learn and engage and get the information that you need in order to successfully navigate the federal hiring process. I love that they put this in as a bullet point because it's a good uh, piece of advice in any interview situation. Breathe, take time to think about your answers and to formulate your next questions. There's also some good sample questions of things that you can ask recruiters. What I recommend you do, because these will be phone interviews and not video interviews, have a copy of your resume, the one that you submitted to me, in front of you, as well as some questions that you know you want to ask. So that way you have cheat sheets, if you will, that you can refer to throughout the process. You can ask the federal government questions such as how did you get started in your career? Tell me more about your line of work, etc. You can also ask them specifically about skills that agencies are looking for in hiring new employees, and you want to localize that around the ones that you're most interested in. So, for example, if you're interested in working in the Treasury Service, ask about what kind of skill sets they look for, the different career paths they're in, etc. Can also have them look at your resume and talk about the experiences that you've had and ask them what's the best way for me to position that in a potential job interview with an agency. We call that transferable skills, how you take the experiences you've had that aren't directly related to what you want to do, but then you translate them into a relevant experience for a potential employer. If you've had good experiences, even if it's project work, volunteer work, internships, part time jobs, even some of your coursework, you can build a lot of transferable skills from. There's also some other job related questions here that you can read and ask. And again, things that you can review on your own. The point is you want to prepare a little bit for the interviews. Now I'm going to stop the share and just talk to you for a minute. When you're interviewing, you'll receive, well, first on Friday, you're going to receive an email from me that has all of your informational interview schedule information. So it'll tell you the name of the person that you're interviewing with and what department they work for. So you'll at least have an idea of who you're talking to, and the date and time of your interview. Remember, again, this is a phone interview, and they will call you on the phone number listed on the resume you submitted to me for the WRP application process. The recruiters have been instructed to use that as the method to contact you by. You want to make sure you're in a quiet room where you can hear clearly and where your phone will operate, at optimal settings. So if you use headsets or something and they're Bluetooth, make sure you charge them ahead of time. Or if you use a wired one, make sure you've got a good connection. You will receive in that email confirmation about your interview a link to let the Career Center know if you would like to use one of our interview rooms for your interview. You may come and do that and sit in one of the quiet places to use your to do your interviews. If you choose not to do that, that's completely fine. You can just say no and use your own space. That's up to you. The other thing you want to do, again, make sure you've got your resume handy and you have a list of prepared questions. The interview will last around 30 minutes. And when it's done, you'll have time at the end to make a few notes for yourself. The recruiter will then make some notes, which will go into the WRP database, which is how participating agencies pulling from that database will contact you for further opportunities about jobs, internships, or further interviews. One thing I do recommend each of you to do is to ask the recruiters about the next steps in the application process, as they can more fully tell you about that. There's a lot of information on the WRP site as well. I recommend that you review that on your own. And if you need more help with interview preparation, look to the Career Center website, career.uncc.edu, and there you will find all the information you need on how to prepare for your interviews. I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. I wish you the best in your interviews. And again, look for a message from me on Friday morning confirming your interview time and with some additional information for you to help you prepare for the WRP interviews on November the 9th and 10th. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.